What's going on, guys? It's the Club of the Man 1993 coming at you for my Major League Baseball postseason wrap-up video, the November 2017 edition, as I talk about my thoughts on the 2017 Major League Baseball postseason, and as well as what I wanted to do as well, make my predictions for the awards, which are going to be handed out. So I know we already did the Gold Glove Awards and Silver Slugger Awards. Congratulations to all of them, as there was a lot of first-timers and some, former award winners who received, second or so of those awards as well. But I don't usually predict those. But I just want to get this out there before they do start revealing some of these awards. Some of them are pretty obvious for the most part. I want to talk about the ones that are predicted at the beginning of the season, the middle of the season, and the end of the season. What my final thoughts are as well, based off of the final candidates that we had. So first, talk about the postseason in general. I was wrong on some of my predictions. Would start off with, the Indians. I thought they were the ones who were going to win the World Series. They didn't get past the first round in a good 5-game series with the Yankees. I just thought that the Indians had a lot of momentum coming in, despite the fact that their 22-game winning streak did come to an end. I really thought that they were going to, continue the momentum in the postseason with the experience they had last year, and also with a great postseason manager like Terry Francona. But, the Yankees put up a good fight. The Yankees are, I know a lot of people give the Yankees crap because they have all the money and stuff, but I mean, this year they were a lot more of a younger team. They had a lot more younger talent in that team. They had some veterans, but most of the veterans are starting to get up there in age. And I was a little surprised they went as far as firing Joe Girardi after the season because, in my opinion, they were making steps in progress towards what's next for them. I don't know if they expect them to win a World Series this year or not, but I was a little surprised they let go of Joe Girardi because, again, they had a good season. They almost got to the World Series. They went to Game 7, and it was a game where, the Astros just scored more runs. The Yankees played a good game. The Astros just won the game pretty much. So I was a little surprised that happened. Again, the Yankees had a good showing. The Red Sox and Astros, when it's expected, the Astros were the better team. They beat the Red Sox. And then John Farrell was let go also. And now did they name a new manager for the Red Sox? I can't remember. I know there's some candidates, but I don't know they named a manager. I know the Nationals also let go of Dusty Baker, placed him with Dave Martinez. But speaking of which, the Nationals and the Cubs, I believe. Yeah, the Nationals once again could not get past the first round. I was kind of hoping it would have happened. I had the faith in them. That they had not only had the pitching, but they had the offense there as well, even better than it's been in past years. Like with the signing of Matt Wieters last offseason, I'm like, that's the team to beat. I really thought it was going to happen, but it did not happen, unfortunately. The Cubs move on. What can I say? They're still a good team, not as good as they were last year, but still a good team. And then the Dodgers and Diamondbacks. I felt bad that I was not holding the Dodgers as high. I mean, I thought the Dodgers were great. Don't get me wrong. It's just that I felt that they went on that really hot stretch, and they went on a really cold stretch. They lost like 11 or 12 at one point. It just didn't they were as strong a team as they were, and I knew most of their players didn't have too much success in the postseason really. So that's why I was thinking maybe the Dodgers were going to get that far. But they proved me wrong, and they did almost win the World Series. Took it to Game 7, but the Astros outdid them in Game 7, as they won 5-1 that game. But my favorite game, of course, was that Game 5 in the World Series, that 13-12 victory by the Astros on that walk-off RBI single by Alex Bregman. That was just an unbelievable game. I just remember being in my hotel room with my dad and my uncles that night, watching that game. We were up to like 2 o'clock in the morning watching, of course, later than that because I needed to take a shower, but I didn't want to because I didn't want to miss anything on the game. There was just no safe lead in that series. There were so many home runs hit. George Springer hit 5, won the World Series MVP award. Congratulations to him. It's too bad though he spent some time on the DL though in the second half because that hindered my my prediction for the second half of the season, having George Springer being the MVP. But he did win the World Series MVP. Carlos Correa, who I think I predicted if the Astros would go to the World Series, he would win the World Series MVP, but didn't have. But he got something better. He got to propose to his girlfriend. And congratulations to Carlos Correa, who, as I always say, is exactly 1 year younger than me, as his birthday was September 22nd, 1994. Mine's, of course, the same thing, except in 1993, as you all can tell. But overall, yeah, very fun World Series. Hats off again to the Dodgers and Astros on a great series. I mean, I still hold Game 7 of the 2016 World Series is one of my favorite, though. But I am still, was very excited. It was an exciting World Series. Hey, what's up, Robbie? Um, so yeah, without further ado, though, I want to talk about the awards. My predictions for the awards for the MLB season. Going through what I predicted at the preseason, we did the All-Star break, going over the 3 finalists for each award. Well, there's one, though, that there wasn't finalists because they don't really, shoot out. There's more of like a Player's Choice Award, but it's an award that I like going on with. So I'm going to just list them all. Start off with the American League MVP Award. At the beginning of the year, I thought it was going to be Jose Altuve. At the All-Star break, I thought it was going to be George Springer because of the year he was having. He seems to be able to only do well from the leadoff spot, George Springer. It's strange. He's definitely more of like a middle of the order hitter, like a 3, probably more of like a cleanup hitter, maybe, I'd say. But for some reason, his success seems to come from the leadoff spots. That's why he's staying there. And I thought he had a good chance. He was second in the league in home runs with 27. He had like a 310 batting average or something like that at the time. I thought he had a strong case to do so. Unfortunately, though, again, he had an injury that kept him out for a while. I think he was only into like 130-some games this season. Houston Astros, baby! Yes, thank you for the shout-out, Robbie. But I felt that did hinder. I'm glad, though, he got the World Series MVP award, though, with the 5 home runs and the 7 RBIs he had. He deserved it. So who's my final pick to be MVP? Is it still Jose Altuve? The 3 finalists are Jose Altuve, Aaron Judge, and Jose Ramirez. All 3 of them have legitimate cases. Jose Altuve is always the little guy, but he plays like a big man. I mean, he still has the batting average. He won the batting title again. I think he was either first or second in hits. I think Charlie Blackmon led the whole league in hits this year. I'm not sure. I got to double check on that. And he's developed the power stroke. He's hit close to 20 home runs. He hit 7 in the World Series in the postseason. He had a 3-homer game in the ALDS as well. So I think he has a strong case for it. Aaron Judge, we all know the season he had. He hit like 174 in like 30 games last year. He was supposed to start in AAA this year, I heard. And people didn't think he was going to be an everyday player. And then he had a hot start in April, in May, June. By July, he was leading the league with 30 home runs. And then he did go through a little bit of a slump in like mid to late August. Because as the All-Star, he was in like 330 with like 30 homers, which it was weird because he was still striking out a lot. But it showed that any time he made contact, he was hitting the ball hard. But I think he ended with like a 280, 290 average with the new rookie record, 52 home runs and over 100 RBIs. Will he win it, though? He has a strong case. And then Jose Ramirez. I didn't know who Jose Ramirez was till the World Series last year. And I thought, he's still getting a solid bottom of the order hitter, but this year he just really turned it up a notch. I believe he hit like 290 or a little over 300. I know he hit like 29 home runs. He was definitely one of the hottest hitters at the time of the Indians' 22-game winning streak. But yeah, I felt he has a case to make the MVP award as well. Now, from these 3, who would I pick to win the MVP? Well, it does have a history of having postseason experience, or how far you're in the postseason as well that may, get to the story behind it. Like when Andrew McCutchen won the MVP award in 2013, he didn't have the best season he had. I mean, he had average-wise, yes, but power-wise, he wasn't as high up in power numbers. So I was surprised he won the MVP award season because even though that, Paul Goldschmidt still had the better year by far, definitely. So with that being said, Aaron Judge, despite getting the Yankees to the American League Championship Series, almost to the World Series, with that slump, I'm not going to give it to him. Jose Ramirez, again, solid year, but with the Indians not getting far, I'm not going to give it to him either. It's got to be Jose Altuve. The year he had, just another great season he's had. He's 5'5", 5'6", plays like a big man. He's solid with the glove. Him and his double play partner, Carlos Correa, who I know believes in a future MVP award winner as well if he stays healthy. But what else? Again, he can hit about 20 home runs. He hits like close to 350, I believe. He has the RBIs. He's a solid number 3 hitter. He had a great postseason as well. I think it's going to be Jose Altuve winning the MVP award for the American League. He by far deserves it. So that's my pick at the end of the year, Jose Altuve. For the National League MVP award, at the beginning of the year, I predicted Corey Seager of the Dodgers. I still think he's going to win the MVP award someday. Young man, he's only a year younger than me. But to me, he didn't have as good of a year as I had hoped. At the All-Star break, I thought it was going to be Charlie Blackmon. Charlie Blackmon still put up an unbelievable year for a leadoff hitter. He hit over 300. Again, I think he led the league in hits. I can't remember for sure, though. Actually, let me just double check right now. Let me check. Let me double check. Let me just look it up. I know. I believe Jose Altuve, was at least led the American League, or he may have and placed second overall. Oh, that's right. The new Red Sox manager is Alex Cora. Let me see here. Okay, yeah. Jose Altuve had a 346 batting average this year, so he was close to 350. Get not select splits. 2017 regular season. Let's see here. Yes, Charlie Blackmon led the league with 213 hits, and then Jose Altuve with 204. Okay, yeah, I thought that was what it was. But let's see the numbers also by Charlie Blackmon. And this is from a leadoff hitter. He had 331, 35 doubles, 14 triples, 37 home runs, 104 RBIs. All from the leadoff spot. He only stole 14 bases, which is, from a leadoff hitter, guys begs a little more speed for it. That's not as much as I probably hoped for. But yes, I felt he would at least have a strong case. And also getting the Rockies back to the postseason as well. Like him and Nolan Arenado, definitely MVP caliber players. Unfortunately, neither Nolan or Charlie made the final cut for the final three finalists for the National League MVP. Neither did Corey Seager. The three finalists were Paul Goldschmidt, Giancarlo Stanton, and Joey Votto from the Cincinnati Reds. I was a little bit surprised Votto made it because since the Reds didn't have a good year, but he still had a year very similar, if not maybe better, to his to his MVP season that he once had. So I mean, again, I'll be honest, I do not like Joey Votto personally, but I respect the player he is and how good he is. But I was a little bit surprised to see him there. And I was surprised, Ryan Zimmerman wasn't there. Again, no Nolan Arenado, no Charlie Blackmon. Let me see. Is anybody else I was surprised? No Marcell Ozuna. Who else was I surprised to not see? Daniel Murphy, maybe he didn't have as good of a year as he did last year, but still a strong year. But there's just a couple honorable mentions as well for the National League MVP award. So let's run down these players. I already talked about Joey Votto a little bit. Had an awesome year, close to his MVP year, despite the fact that the Reds only won 68 games a year. But let me see his statistics. Yeah, he played 162 games. He's been healthy. He's had a couple injury play seasons the past few years. It's good to see him do that. He had 36 home runs, drove in 100 RBIs, hit 320. This guy does not strike out much at all. He walks. I'm not sure where the statistic still stands, but I did hear a rumor a couple years ago. Apparently, Joey Votto in his entire career, at one point, fairly recently, had only hit 10 pop-outs in his career. And he's been playing for 10 seasons now, too. So you notice a guy who makes solid contact ball. Again, I'm not really too big of a Joey Votto fan. I think he's a little bit of a rival. I do think sometimes, he's a little bit of a crybaby, I'll be honest. But I do respect, the talent that he is. But I don't think he's winning the MVP award this year because of the Reds. The other two candidates are left: Paul Goldschmidt and Giancarlo Stanton. Wow. This one was very tough because here's the thing. I love Giancarlo Stanton. He's the guy that I was just begging for the longest time to have that monster home run season that we've been waiting to have. Before this season, the most he had hit was 37. I think 2 years ago, because last year he played in a decently over 100 games, but he was hampered by injuries in the second half of the season, but he just still played a lot. He had 27 home runs, I believe. And the year before, he had 27 home runs in 74 games. He sat out the entire second half of the season. Imagine if he was healthy, how many home runs he would have hit that year. So, he's got to get somewhere. And I believe he only had 24, 26 at the All-Star break this year. So I thought, okay, maybe if anything, he'll get like, high 30s, early 40s. He went on a tear. He hit like 11 home runs in the first 15 days in August. He went on to hit 59. I was hoping he'd reach 60. Like, I was rooting for 60. I wanted him to hit 60 so bad. Came up short, though. He batted lead off the last couple games of the season because the Marlins weren't going to the World Series, but he still batted leadoff just to get enough at bats to take a shot at 60 home runs. He did not. He ended up hitting 59 home runs, and he also led the league as well with let me see how many, 132 RBIs as well. And while hitting, he hit 281 also, so he kept a solid batting average. I mean, he struck 163 times, but he still was a solid hitter overall. 32 doubles, but the thing is, again, the Marlins didn't make the postseason, and that's gonna hinder my chance for him winning the World Series again, because the Marlins had a year similar to the year before. If they had Jose Fernandez and then passed away tragically, I think they could have had a little bit better year because of that big arm and their pitching staff was missing. Could have tacked on a few more wins, but unfortunately, I'm not going to go with Giancarlo Stanton. I got to give it to Paul Goldschmidt. I'm sorry. I mean, he only had 297 this year, not as high as I think when he last time he had like an MVP caliber season year. Andrew McCutchen won the MVP award in 2013. But the Diamondbacks were the biggest surprise team to me this year. I mean, you can make a case for the Rockies as well. The Diamondbacks have won 93 games this year, literally flipped their record around. 2016 they went 69 and 93. This year they went 93 and 69. Turned things around. Pitching staff got a lot better. Offense got better. The addition of J.D. Martinez, just dingers Martinez. J.D. Martinez, my goodness. He only did like 120 games. He hit 45 home runs, and like over half of them came with the Diamondbacks in the second half when he was traded to them. He was injured for the most half of the season with the Tigers, goes to the Diamondbacks, and just goes on a tear. He hit like what was it? Like trying to think. Let me look this up actually also really quick. J.D. Martinez, he only played 119 games, hit 45 home runs and 104 RBIs altogether. But let's see here. He hit 29 home runs in 62 games this year with the Diamondbacks. 29 home runs in 62 games, including a 4-homer game against the Dodgers. Unbelievable. Like, I kind of hope they try to at least re-sign him somehow. But I know a team like the Red Sox or someone would probably want to pick him up though. But another big success as well. The Diamondbacks were the team that just were the big surprise team. I mean, you can make an argument the Twins were as well, but for the National League at least, it had to be the Diamondbacks being the big surprise team. They got past the Rockies in the wild card game. Didn't do too well as I thought in the National Division Series. I thought they were going to be like the team, like the big surprise team that surprises us and does well in the postseason. Did happen, but with that and with Paul Goldschmidt having a year very similar to the year where I feel he should have won the MVP award, but Andrew McCutchen won it. But I think Paul Goldschmidt, with a story for the Diamondbacks this year, I think he deserves to win the MVP award this year. 297, 36 home runs, 120 RBIs, 34 doubles. He had about 18 stolen bases as well, so the guy can run. But I think Paul Goldschmidt, is a great player. I love him. He's just due to win an MVP award. So my 2 MVPs this year are going to be Jose Altuve for the American League and Paul Goldschmidt from the National League. Moving on to Cy Young Awards. Now, the American League wasn't tough for me. The National League, though, was a little tough for me. I will not lie. That was a tough one. So let's start off with the American League. So the American League, at the beginning of the year, I predicted Corey Kluber from the Cleveland Indians. He's a solid, great pitcher. He has had great postseason experience as well. I thought he was going to pull off another good year this year. He did have a good year, and he was one of the finalists. But the All-Star break, I thought it was going to be Chris Sale. Chris Sale was always someone who always had a great first half. Second half seemed to always fall off since he was on a team with like the White Sox who weren't really that good. And he went to the Red Sox, and he had a career year. Started the All-Star break. He had way over 200 strikeouts by the All-Star break. And he pitched in 32 games this year, and he finished with a career-high 308 308. 308. That is 40 more than Max Scherzer, who had the next most with 268. Overall, though, Sale this year, he went 17-8 with a 2.90 ERA. I know this might be a tad bit high, but it was still very strong. The 308 strikeouts that Corey Kluber went 18-4 with a 2.25 ERA in 29 games, 265 strikeouts. And then the last candidate was Luis Severino, went 14-6 with a 2.98 ERA and 230 strikeouts. Another young arm up there. I do think Corey Kluber, though, has a strong chance as well, but I gotta still go with Chris Sale. I think Chris Sale, again, has been long deserving this. He got the Red Sox to the postseason like Kluber and Sale, didn't get their teams too far, but with the season he had a career year. I think Chris Sale finally does deserve that Cy Young award. So that's my pick, Chris Sale. For the National League was tough because at the beginning of the year and the middle of the year, it looked like it was Clayton Kershaw running away with it again. Just another great year he had. He got hampered with injuries, though, in the second half of the season. So he was limited to, how many games did he pitch this year? 27. He still pitched 27 games this year, yeah, but he did miss some starts with some back issues, which did limit him, but he still had yet another great year. He went 18-4, still with a 2.31 ERA and 202 strikeouts and 175 innings pitched, which is still pretty good. He was one of the finalists. Well, he is one of the finalists. And then Nationals have two finalists in Max Scherzer and Steven Strasburg. Let's see here. Max Scherzer went 16-6 with a 2.51 ERA, but 268 strikeouts and an opponent batting average of 178. Ooh, that's pretty strong, I feel. And then Steven Strasburg went 15-4, limited to 28 games pitched. He missed a couple games on the DL, a 2.52 earned run average, and 204 strikeouts. Again, I would love to give it to Clayton Kershaw because despite the injuries, he still had a very strong year. But you can't deny it. It's Max Scherzer, 16-6. He had 31 games pitched, 268 strikeouts, and that 178 opponent batting average. And I'd like to see Kershaw win again and keep making his case to be in the Hall of Fame and maybe one of the best pitchers of all time. I gotta give it to Max Scherzer. So that's my final pick, Max Scherzer. And those are my two Cy Young Award winners I'm predicting this year, Chris Sale and Max Scherzer. For Rookie of the Year, it's pretty obvious. At the beginning of the year, I thought it was going to be Andrew Benintendi for the American League from the Red Sox. He was the only prospect I really had heard at the time. But then the man named Aaron Judge came along, and all rise, the All-Star break, I'm like, there's no doubt about it. He's going to win Rookie of the Year. Yeah, he went through a little bit of a slump, but still finished with a rookie record of 52 home runs, breaking Mark McGwire's previous record of 49 when he was the Oakland Athletics. Three finalists, Andrew Benintendi, Aaron Judge, and Trey Mancini from the Orioles, who also put up a pretty strong rookie year as well. Not as good as Benintendi and Aaron Judge, though, which is why he's definitely not my pick. Andrew Benintendi, strong year, but not quite. It's Aaron Judge, no doubt about it. For the National League, I thought it would be Dansby Swanson at the beginning of the year again because he's the only prospect I really knew about. But then the All-Star break, Cody Bellinger was leading the National League with 25 home runs, I believe. Yeah, I think he had 25. And again, he's someone who came out of nowhere. He replaced, an injured Adrian Gonzalez and took over Adrian Gonzalez's job and was part of the Dodgers' successful 104 win season they had this year and almost winning the World Series. So despite they have two other qualifying finalists as Bellinger, and that's Josh Bell from my Pittsburgh Pirates, who had a surprising year with the power, 26 home runs, a rookie record for a Pittsburgh Pirates, breaking Ralph Kiner's. And then I think he still hit like 250 or 260, and he got like 70 or 80 RBIs. And then there was Paul DeJong, who from the Cardinals, who had a season similar to Josh Bell, but a little bit stronger. But there's no doubt about it. Cody Bellinger, 39 home runs. He had 274, but he still had a very strong rookie season. Did have a little bit of a minor injury that kept him out for some time in the second half of the year. Not too long, though, but there's no doubt about it. The rookies of the year are going to be Aaron Judge and Cody Bellinger. Now, for comeback player of the year, I don't have any candidates listed here, but I have a couple on my mind I know could probably win it. Oh, I need to fix this spelling error. Okay, so for comeback player of the year, for the American League, I mean, all three parts of the season, I kept predicting this guy, and this who it's got to be. It's got to be Mike Moustakas from the Kansas City Royals. He was out all year with an ACL injury. He came back this year, and he was always known was a solid hitter for the Royals, but we knew he could be even better. And he put on a great showcase. He hit 272 this year, participated in the home run derby, hit 38 home runs, drove 85 RBIs. There was no other player I could really think off the top of my head from the American League, at least, that had a comeback year like Mike Moustakas did. A career year for him. He's going to be a free agent. Will he come back to the Royals, or he's going to move on somewhere else? We'll have to wait and see. But it's a great third baseman for the Royal Blue team. And then for the National Comeback Player of the Year, beginning of the season, I predicted it would be Andrew McCutchen from the Pirates. Had a strong year. Average isn't quite as high as I had hoped at 279, but still, had a started off the first 2 months slow, had a hot June, July, had some okay September and in August and September, and the short time in October as well that they played. But again, at the All-Star break, I picked this guy, and at the end of the year, I think it's gonna be this guy too, Ryan Zimmerman. What a story he had. Again, he'd been hampered with injuries over the past couple years. I really thought his career was over at one point because I didn't think he was available for third base anymore, since we had Anthony Rendon coming up, and then he just pretty much took over there. And then Trey Turner came along to take away Danny Espinosa's job. So Zimmerman, I think, was in left field one time. Then they moved him to first base, and that's where he was at first base this year. And what a year he had! He had 303, 36 home runs, 108 RBIs. I know those home runs are definitely a career high for him. I'm not sure, but I don't think the RBIs are, because I think he drove in 4 RBIs before. But a team that's always been based around pitching, the offense needed to improve. Bryce Harper had a good year until an injury kept him out for a good amount of the second half, but he was having a big bounce back year if it wasn't for that injury as well. But Ryan Zimmerman's definitely a story. All those past 5 seasons, he'd been hampered with injuries. Wasn't sure if he was going to be able to come back to his regular form, but he did so this year, and the Nationals had a great season because of his success. So that's why Ryan Zimmerman and Mike Moustakas are going to be my picks for the comeback players of the year from each league. And finally, the last award is Manager of the Year. For the American League, at the beginning of the year, I thought it was going to be Scott Servais from the Seattle Mariners, because I thought the Mariners were a team that, they had the young talent. And their veterans were just brewing well together. They seemed to be right on the right track. I thought they were the favorites to win the American League West. Unfortunately, their pitching staff wasn't as strong as I thought it was. They still had a not terrible year, but not great either. They won 78, 79 games, like near 500, about a 500 team, but just a little bit under. But it's obvious now that the Mariners, Scott Servais was not going to be your Manager of the Year. At the All-Star break, the only person I can think was A.J. Hinch. More so probably depending on how far in the postseason, because Terry Francona I could have thought of also, but he's proven before he can take teams to the World Series. I mean, yes, it was the Indians team who wasn't really the Boston Red Sox, but strong team. Francona got them on a 22-game winning streak as well. But AJ Hinch was the one that I knew that, was building up still on this team, team for the Astros started off with a bunch of young talent. 4 years ago, was losing over 100 games, 5 years in a row. It was more of a double-A team, but what he's done with his young talent and brought in the veterans as well. And he's done a great job managing them all. And of course, the third candidate was Paul Molitor from the Minnesota Twins, which I gotta give hats off to him. The Twins went from like the worst record in the league, which is like 57 and 104, I think or 57 and 105 they went in 2016 to winning 85 games this year and making the wild card spot, the wild card game. Didn't get past there though, but definitely a surprise. 85 wins though. Don't think it's quite enough. I think though the guy that deserves this is definitely AJ Hinch. Just leading the Astros to their first World Series victory. Their pitching really came along as well. After in 2016 they had a good year, but they got to a very slow start, mainly because of their pitching that year. So again, a little bit disappointing in 2016, but I think with them winning the World Series, no doubt about it, AJ Hinch needs to win the American League Manager of the Year this year. So that's my pick. And for National League Manager of the Year, I was stuck on Bud Black at the preseason and the All-Star break because I thought the Rockies were a team that were really going to take off in the second half. They were pretty much like up there with the Diamondbacks, but then the Rockies fell back just a little bit. They both the Rockies and Diamondbacks still face each other in the wild card game. Had a solid game. Diamondbacks won though. But I remember saying also that I thought it was going to be the Rockies going to be a team that that they got the lead over the Diamondbacks in the wild card race, and then I felt that the Diamondbacks were they were going to collapse. The complete opposite happened. Well, not completely because the Rockies still finished 87 wins or something like that, and the Diamondbacks had 93. Because their pitching's come together. They got JD Martinez. Their hitting came through, and the Rockies. They're always a great hitting team. They just finally got some pitching going this year, and I think Bud Black definitely proved that hey, all those years with the Padres, my team may not have been that great, but I know how to manage a winning team, and that's what happened. However, it's tough. I was going to give it to Dave Roberts. He won it last year, though. Like we all knew the Dodgers were really good getting to the World Series, though. Bud Black again, got the Rockies into the postseason, but we all knew the Rockies just needed some pitching. It was only a matter of time. The Diamondbacks though were a team that didn't seem like they were in a good spot though, so that's why I'm giving Diamondbacks manager Torey Lovullo the National League Manager of the Year award because of the Diamondbacks probably being the biggest surprise team we had this year. Well, again, we had a few others, but the Diamondbacks was the biggest surprise, I'd say, by far. So just to go over my predictions for the final picks for the end of the year awards, let me go through them again one more time. For American League MVP, it's Jose Altuve from the Astros. National League MVP is Paul Goldschmidt from the Diamondbacks. American League Cy Young Award is Chris Sale from the Red Sox. National League Cy Young Award is Max Scherzer from the Nationals. American League Rookie of the Year is Aaron Judge. National League Rookie of the Year is Cody Bellinger. American League Comeback Player of the Year, Mike Moustakas. National League Comeback Player of the Year, Ryan Zimmerman. American League Manager of the Year, AJ Hinch. And National League Manager of the Year, Torey Lovullo. So, yep, that is it, guys. That is my picks for the final awards for the 2017 Major League Baseball season. I know it wasn't really, one of my favorite years for baseball because I didn't really watch as much because I was busy, but also, I was frustrated with the Pirates. I've had enough of them, but I wish I would just still try to keep up and watching more games this past season. But I'm looking to get back on track in 2018, whether the Pirates are good or not. But because I still love baseball, and that's one thing I've just grown up with. So we'll see what happens next year as well. Will the Houston Astros repeat as World Series champions? Will they, will somebody else move on to it? We'll see what happens next year. Who's a surprise team? Which team's going to make a big rise? Who might make a big fall? We'll see what happens next year. But I definitely want to try to do some, hot stove tracker videos as well for any big signings that happen. So I'll try to do those throughout the offseason as well. And I'll be back here with my preseason predictions in February for the 2018 season. But what are your thoughts on the postseason? What are your thoughts on who's going to win the final awards? Leave your thoughts down in the comment section below. And as always, click that like and subscribe for more content coming to this channel. Follow me on Twitter at Everyone93. I'm going to get back to the WrestleMania Retro Review Series. WrestleMania 18 next. And then stay tuned this week for my reviews of Raw, SmackDown, NXT, Top 10 Topics. There's a lot of stuff to come this week. Reviews for NXT TakeOver, War Games, and Survivor Series next Sunday, which the card is so much better thanks to AJ Styles being Jinder Mahal for the title, and now he's going to be facing Brock Lesnar instead of Jinder. So we'll see what happens there. But thank you guys for tuning in. Again, to do all the stuff I said to do before. And that, guys, I'll see you all later. Have a great night.